Hi, my name is Dan McKone. I'm a managing director with L.E.K in the Boston office, and I've been with L.E.K for about 20 years now.
Hi, my name's Alan Lewis. I'm a managing director in our Boston office.
An edge strategy is a disciplined and methodical approach to growth in your business. So many times when we think about growth in businesses, we're tempted to go for very high-risk gambits. We're tempted to think about, how can I go into a new customer set? How can I think about going into a new market? Pushing myself to go into adjacencies which I may not feel comfortable with and may introduce operational complexity into my core business, which I've cultivated over so many years. An edge strategy is about moving just incrementally along the periphery of your business and thinking about, how can I leverage the latent assets that I have? How can I take the infrastructure I've already invested in and make that extendable into a new space, but not so new that it introduces undue risk?
We found that it seems to be a very common, and if not even in vogue, mindset these days to consider growth strategy as being something that has to consider far-flung, big bets, opportunities to look to the horizon to try and find where you can grow your business. And what we've actually observed and we've found with many of our clients is that in stepping over to those opportunities, you're actually stepping past this area in this sort of twilight between your core and your non-core, where there's a whole series of opportunities to find incremental, high-margin growth for your business.
So a great example of edge strategies in action is the telecom industry. If we go back to 20, 30 years ago, the telecom industry was all about access. You paid for local service, you paid for long distance service, but it was really about people talking on phones. And then what happened in the 80s and the 90s? Well, technology improved, it moved on, and it became possible for the telecom to layer on additional services on top of its core. Call waiting, digital intercept, caller ID, voicemail. These are all things that didn't exist at one point. But in the 80s and the 90s, they were slowly layered on into people's packages, first as a la carte services and then as bundles. But when you think about it, the infrastructure was already there, the customers were already there, and what the telecom companies did was layer on a very complementary, symbiotic service that enhanced the overall package for the customer for some more money. High margin, higher customer satisfaction, and relatively low risk because many of the latent assets were already there.
So one of the ways that companies can find an edge opportunity is to try and complete their customer's journey. So what does that mean? Well, anyone who provides a product or service is usually helping a customer on a path to somewhere. But not often the case is that that path continues after that service or product has been purchased. And a great example of that is going to the grocery store. So Whole Foods has a great edge strategy where they realized that a lot of their customers weren't coming to buy a week's groceries, they were coming to buy the ingredients of a meal, or indeed the frozen pizza that they would go home and cook to eat. So they're clearly looking, their journey was to have a meal. And they realized, well, we can complete that meal for those customers. We can have prepared food, hot food, ready to eat right there in the store. And indeed, they can leverage the existing store resources to do that. And so they've done this, and they've actually had great success. It's about 20% of their business today, and based on our analysis and estimates, the equivalent basket of goods could be up to 5 times as profitable for them as just selling the ingredients. So we think every executive should be asking the question of their management team, what is my edge strategy, or what is our edge strategy? We found that all too often it seems to be the sort of mantra to bet big. The only way to grow is to look at the horizon, look at distant opportunities, and try and find ways of being bold and transforming your industry. Whereas what we've actually recognized, almost in any industry we look at, in any kind of company, there are readily addressable opportunities to take edge plays and find incremental high margin sources of growth.